It's a little bit crazy. You're suddenly blurry now. I wonder if anything was real. All our history's hazy, like driving in the pouring rain. Are we in too deep to heal? You tell me that you're sorry, we'll make up tomorrow. Tell me everything you know I wanna hear. I'm trying to be open, but that window is closing. And either way, I need to make it clear before we're leaving here. Before we're leaving here.
I know it ain't easy, but there's something left to hold on to. We can work it through, you don't have to go. There's a future here with me. We'll find the light in a clouded room. Not giving up until you know.
You tell me that you're sorry, we'll make up tomorrow. Tell me everything you know I wanna hear. I'm trying to be open, but that window is closing. And either way, I need to make it clear before we're leaving here. Either way, I need to make it clear before we're leaving here.
And shalom, everyone. Shalom. I want to welcome everyone to the house of the Lost Sheep of Israel. I'm Elder Michael Johnson, the senior pastor over here with the Lost Sheep of Israel and also with King James Bible University. And I want to welcome you guys here. We have a pretty good teaching actually going to be going through today. But before we actually get started, I do want to make a couple of announcements before we start up. And go and show you what's going on. Now, we just had one Bible study this morning. That was with Elder Jenkins. So if you guys get a chance, you can actually go over, you can see the studies and making sure that you can be part of this. And if you want to look to where you want to get deeper knowledge of the Bible, we also do every morning to where we do our daily prayer. And we actually petitioning God for remembrance of our sins and what we committed against him. And then we also have going on later on, we'll be having this pretty shortly. Right now we are having a lot of interest with people who want to come over, and we're going to be in San Antonio. And in San Antonio, we actually going to be down there doing the baptism. And once you go there for the baptism, the main thing that what we're going to do is going to go through that, and we're going to see what's going on there. And we're going to have a baptism for each and every person who is looking for the join to the Most High, and making sure that they can time it to get it right and come into the Lord. We also, this evening, one of the most interesting teachings we're going to be doing is on today. It'll be at 3 o'clock Pacific time. It'll be at 5 o'clock Central time and 6 o'clock Eastern time. And I want to make sure that this is going through for each and every person that is there. So with that, we're going to sit there, and I want to make sure some things is going on, because I see somebody. I'm going to actually have to move something here 1 second, because this is something that I do not do. Actually, I'm looking at it, but I'm seeing one person is doing some things, and I might have to make some corrections here real quick. So give me 1 second, and I will make sure this is corrected real quick. So just give me 1 minute, and just bear with me, and I'm gonna make sure I take care of this, because right now we have somebody might be accidentally removing people by accident, but that's something to where we cannot still tolerate no matter what. So I'm going to move this as that. So that is now taken care of. And then we need to make sure these things is taken, we got to put this as, make sure, give me 1 second, because we can't have these, 1 second. Because one thing we cannot take is where we actually have moderators in here. But if the moderators is actually removing people and doing different things as that, we cannot sit there and have people just allow them to do it and then they believe it was just by mistake. When they be moved, we want to make sure that they was done for a reason and not sit there and be by mistake by being in our pockets. So I'd like to make sure that, so I do apologize to the people who that was done too, but I just taken care of that to where we don't have that issue with that one. So now, as we're going through here, we do want to understand the main thing here, where we will be going through an interesting teaching, but this teaching here is actually going to be over at King James Bible University. That's where that will be. And we will make sure this is actually done there. So with that one, 1 second, still got one more. And let me see, because we cannot have that going through. And yeah, so now we should have all that corrected. So the main thing is, if people make these kind of mistakes, we make sure we have to correct all those things, because we cannot afford that, because people get removed by our own issues and our own mistakes. So I make sure that we correct those right off the bat. But making sure that if you want to be part of this teaching this evening, please make sure you go over to King James Bible University, and you can actually join part to this teaching, so we can make sure that this will go on. And we have the main teaching is what we're looking at today. We're looking at the message to the body in Philadelphia. It's a real interesting thing that goes on. And I want everybody to make sure you write this down. Make sure you really clearly get this, and as we understand what's happening here. Because this message to the church of Philadelphia, please make sure you document this information. Because the church in Philadelphia, people call Philadelphia, and people know it as Philadelphia. Even here, they call it brotherly love. That's actually not the truth. The reason why brotherly love is used in a Greek term, however, in the Greek term, that is what they're doing. But it's honoring Philadelphians. It's honoring a man. That's what that actually honoring. And Philadelphia was a Hellenistic. And so it makes Philadelphia a Hellenistic city. So people will sit there and say, well, Philadelphia is called brotherly love. No, that's under a Greek term. It's not a Hebrew term. A Hebrew term is actually called the iron bedstead. That's what it is. Letting you know you're in a whole bunch of hell. And hell will continually reign. That's what that actually means. But they're going to tell you it means brotherly love. And I can tell you right now, you can go to Philadelphia right now yourself and you'll see brotherly love is not reigning there. But we understand what's going on because he wrote it to this church. He wrote it to this body of people. But we're going to find out what's going on. So we're going to find out piece by piece what is happening. These things who were separated. But we have to remember, even though it's some people that is there and was true to Jehovah, and he told us something. He said that he's going to open doors that no man can shut, and he's going to shut doors that no man can open. This is what he said. This is what he said. So we want to understand what was going on there. We want to understand what was going on. And we want to make sure we clearly get what was being said on all things. Because he said, I know your works. But he said, but he remembered that we are set in the presence of these open doors. We want to understand that also with these open doors, where no man can shut it. And he also wanted to make sure we understood a couple of other things, because he said we have little strength in Philadelphia, but it was a remnant of us, but we kept God's word, and we never denied the path of Jehovah. We got to keep these things in mind that was set before us. So he have seen also another people. This other people is calling themselves Jews, followers of Christ. That's what they're saying. That's all Jew mean. Jew just mean followers of Christ. People try to put Jew as a people, but Jew is actually what it is, telling you they're followers of Christ. It's a practice. And they have made these people to stumble because they worshiping contrary to the scriptures. But then they're putting on worship, and they put these worship things, so they put them in temples on every corner. So today you see them at these, and why he's calling them synagogues of Satan. Those are gathering places of Satan. That's why he says this. And we also see we got to come to recognize, and they're going to come to recognize, that God is truly true to his word, that he loves his people. So faithfulness is the key, and many of us has kept his word, and that word that worked in our patience, knowing that the Spirit will save us from our hour in temptation when it comes over into this world. So we have to remember this. And Christ is going to come swiftly to the ones who's not paying attention, who he's going to come over once he conquered the world. And what we want to know is whose right it is, who will be part of the pillar of the temple of Yahweh, the creator and king of all. So this way, the name of the city of God would be that New Jerusalem, which comes down. We understand that the creator of salvation and what he's told with John to write, we see. And this is what we got to understand. And this is why getting ready gets so important. And we got to make sure we document and we take notes on what we see. So I want to invite you over, and we're gonna look at some things. We're getting ready to look at some things. And I want you to really pay attention to what's getting ready to go on. And we want to really see what's happening here. We got to understand exactly what's going on. So it's telling us this, and we got to remember, because if you have ears to hear, then you should listen to what the Holy Spirit is saying about this topic to the churches. This is to the bodies. And we want to understand that in its entirety. Couple of things I need to make sure we all understand as we're getting ready to move forward, because Jehovah knows our works. He knows our works. And he remembered. And he has set forth a path for us that this door is open. This door is open. Can't no man shut that door. Can't no man shut that door. For many of us have little strength, but are keeping and following the words of God, following the path of Jehovah that's set before us. We want to look at this in a very peculiar way. So I want to show you something, and we're going to start here. We're going to look at Idris chapter 7, but we want to pick it up at verse 4, and we're going to start getting a lot of understanding here. And we got to see how this starts. And it's not going to start in Revelations where we need to go for Philadelphia, but we have to start here because we got to find the history on why it's building up to this piece. It says, but put the case, the interests were narrow and like a river. So it's like a river. So we need to understand that. So this journey is set narrow, but it's like a river. This river is a nation of people. But it's what you're going to be following. So another one followed the same path as another. So example, the same thing, Abraham followed God. Isaac followed the same identical path. Jacob said the same thing. You'll see this over here in Genesis. We're going to look at chapter 28, but we're going to look at a particular verse, and you're going to see Jacob did the same thing. We'll see this in Genesis chapter 28, picking it up at verse 20. It says, and Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if providing God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat. So he's going to give him knowledge to learn of, and raiment in a covering to put on. Watch what he's telling you here, because he's telling you something that he's making this vow. So that I come again to my father's house in peace. I follow this same path that he went, and I'm going to come back to his house in peace. Then shall the Spirit of God be my God. It's Jacob. Jacob saying this right out of his own mouth. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house, including all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the 10th unto thee. So he's telling you right up front. So one, he's going to be a pillar, and he's going to be a witness of this place. This 10th is talking about his last. He's going to do it all with the strength that he has. And he's making sure he's going to keep the word of Jehovah. He's going to follow that. And that interest, as he's telling you, this interest that is telling you over in Second Idris, is that this is a culture, a lifestyle that's made narrow, it's straight. So we must listen to this voice of God. This is the important part. We have to listen to this voice of God because it's narrow. And this interest, we're narrow. So this culture is narrow. This lifestyle is narrow. But let's get a little bit more information as we digging down into this. We'll find it over there in Sirach chapter 43, but we're going to pick it up at verse 23. And we're going to see what happened. It says, but his counsel he appeased the deep and planted islands therein. So he's talking about he appeased, he comforted. He counseled, he comforted the deep thoughts and secrets, and planted islands. He planted dry lands. These dry bodies he's put. We're finding out what's going on. Verse 24, he says a little bit more. That they sailed on the sea till of the danger thereof, and when he hear it with our ears, we marvel threat. What is this saying? That's the easiest thing, but we have to unravel everything as we move forward. So when he set this sail, the sail is departed. The sea is the knowledge and truth. So we have to understand what these synonyms are and understand what's going on. But then it says, then we marvel with threat. And then we marveled of this path. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to get crazy. The reason why we marvel threat, why we marveled at this path that the Most High decided to take us. As I'm explaining, we're going to find out it's crazy because we want to go the easiest path we can take. But he don't do that. What he's taking us on is the most dangerous way we can go. We on this journey in life and we on this dangerous path. That don't make no sense, do it? Because we're going to find out a lot more on here as we go through here. Verse 25, we're going to sit there and we're going to pick it up for a little bit. And we're going to have a conversation. It says, for therein be strange and wondrous work, variety of all kinds of beasts and whales created. Exactly the point. These beasts, these evil men, these whales, these sea monsters, serpents, and leviathan, all these things is on this identical path that he want us to go, and we threat. He's sitting there, why in the world he taking us this way? Why he won't just take us this little safe way? We can't go the safe way. He want to take us through this other way. But it's a reason for this. It's a reason we have to go this path. It's a reason why we gonna, as it's been said, we have to go down this path where it's lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, yeah, we have to go this way. And we have to know why we going this way. But I'm telling you, if it was up to us, I already know none of us wouldn't choose this way. But he wants us to go this way. He wants us to go this way. Let's look at it. I'm telling you. But this the Most High. His thoughts are not our thoughts. It says, by him the end of them that have prosperous success, including by his word, all things consist. So at the end of this journey, some of us are going to be highly prosperous, following the voice of the word. So we clearly know that the Creator is great. He's marvelous in his power in his journey through the sea. So as we take this path, it's straight. This narrow path is straight. And who are the true Jews? Who are the true followers of Christ? Is what the key got to come down to. The reason why some of us going to get caught up in this path. See, I'm not here to sugarcoat anything for anybody. But some of us is going to get caught up, snares, and we're going to get caught up on this road. We're going to get caught up for a lot of different things. We're going to get caught up by these sea monsters. We're going to get caught up by serpents. We're going to get caught up by leviathans that's playing in them houses. We're going to get caught up. Some of us going to get caught up. Let's take a closer look. Let's go over here to Luke chapter 4. But we're going to pick this at verse 7. See, because this serpent was talking to one. He says, providing thou therefore will worship me, all shall be thine. So all on this path, he's sitting on the corner. And he's saying, if you want all this stuff, yeah, I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up. Look at all this stuff I have. I'll hook you up. You think about that right now. You have people doing the get rich quick schemes. You have people telling you all these things on this path of life, and they telling you how you can be on the same level I'm on. We making $1 million a week. We making $200,000 a week. We doing this. We doing that. We doing this. And all they want you to do is worship them. So it goes down to this, and we look at this, and back to 2 Esdras chapter 7, verse 5. It says, who then could go into the sea and look upon it and rule it? Because you got lions and tigers and bears. I'm just using that catchphrase, but we got all these, we got serpents, we got leviathans, we got kings and queens. Who can go up on that sea and who gonna rule it? Because one want to rule it, but you can't. You got lions and tigers and bears everywhere. So it says, if he went not through the narrow, how could he come to the broad, into the broad? Exactly the point. So you have to understand to go through something. You have to go through this area. See, because this C is talking about the knowledges and the truth among these people. Who can rule it? One guy over here telling you one way you can make millions and billions of dollars, and he broke as a joke. And then you got this other one over here telling you how you can make millions and billions of dollars, and he broke. But he got power. And this flesh is unrighteous in the eyes of God, which makes our righteousness nothing in the eyes of God. Because they're gonna always tell you what stuff is righteous. They're gonna always push that. What's righteous? I want to show you something in Isaiah. I want to show you something. Keep this in mind. We're gonna look at Isaiah chapter 64. And we're gonna look at verse 6. I want you to see something. It says, but we are all as an unclean thing. All our righteousness is as a filthy rag. That's a full thought there. All our righteousness is as a filthy rag. And we all do fade as comparing a leaf. You see how he's putting this? We fade like comparing of a leaf, and our iniquities are like the wind, have taken us away. I want you to really sit down. I want you to think about something. I want you to think about something as we get ready to move forward. But I want you to keep this in mind. Don't change it. Keep it in mind. And if you get it, say got it. Because I'm going to tell it to you. You get it, got it. But what we got to know is this. So we seen comparing the filthy rag, but our lives, our bodies will also fade and die because of sin, being corruptible. Keep that in mind. So this is used as this fading leaf. So I want you to keep that in mind. We're going to use the imagery of a leaf, but we're going to use the imagery that this leaf is fading and is dying, which is speaking about something spiritually, but the focus is for corruption. And what we want to make, actually, I want to tell you what, let's put one more in here. I want to put one more in here to where we can make sure we can get this. I want to make sure we get it. We're going to go to Isaiah chapter 40. Isaiah 40, we're going to go to verse 8. We're going to put these together. We're going to see something what goes on. And the reason why I want to go here, because we want to blend these together. And it says, the grass withereth and the flower fadeth because the Spirit of God bloweth upon it. Surely people is grass. Why I'm putting this there, because I want you to understand something. And flower will fade away. Keep this in mind. Don't never change this, because you're getting ready to understand something. A flower will fade away, not for corruption. Not for corruption, because it's not capable of corruption. That's why he's using this. Let's understand something. They have no inability of flower. Have no inability of flower. I got to keep saying it. They have no inability to process the sensory of information, to have a reaction or have awareness of the world that's around them. Everybody close to what I'm saying? I want you to clearly get what I'm saying. A flower don't have the ability or the sensory to have it within itself, the information to have a reaction. It don't even have the awareness that the world that's they being surrounded by. Everybody understand what I'm saying? I just want to make sure we get this as we go through. And once we understand that, the flower is also incapable of displaying any kind of realization or perception of knowledge or even consciousness. Stay with me. I want you to stay with me on this, because we're going to understand why he has to use the flower. Because this flower, if a flower is incapable, keep this in mind, if a flower is incapable of displaying any kind of realization, if it's incapable of showing any perception, no knowledge or consciousness, then it's telling you this flower is incapable of making choices. It's incapable of that. But the key is here. This is where we get caught up. Now for man is capable of those things. Man is capable of those. The flower is incapable, so the flower can get caught up based on other things. So let's look at something. I want to show you something. We're gonna go here. I want to show you something here. We're gonna come back there. I need to pull this. Let me pull this. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna pull this one, but I'm gonna come back up because we're in the same place. But I want to go down a little bit deeper, and then we're gonna come back up. So we're gonna go to 2 Esdras chapter 7, but I want to go down to 15 because I need to leave that there. So I'm gonna go down to 15. And I want you to pay attention to this, what he's saying ahead of time. So he says, now for that reason, why disquiet thyself, seeing thou art in your perfection and your beauty, but a corruptible man. You see how he's catching us? He's catching us on this. Because of corruptible man, it says, and why in your perfection and beauty thou moved, whereas thou in your perfection and beauty is but mortal. You see how he's catching us? He's catching us. See, it don't say R, A-R, it's art. That's perfection and beauty. So in this, he said, but it's mortal. That's all it is. It's just mortal. That's how he's catching us. So we see this, so it's spoken unto us, being immortal, and we highly capable, since we can think and everything else, we highly capable of corruption because we are aware of our surroundings. Tell me we're not. We are capable and we know our surroundings. We have the ability to perceive things and gather knowledge because we are fully conscious of our surroundings. Right or wrong. Right or wrong. We know this is right. We have a complete understanding. So it's making us capable, since we have a complete knowledge of this, we are completely capable of being corrupted, including corruptible. Because we as a people are fully conscious, having the knowledge and the things that we can perceive. We getting caught up, aren't we? We getting caught up, aren't we? Yeah. We getting caught up. So we see we can't get around this. So since we're doing this, so it's making us fully capable of being corrupted, including corruptible. And then we as a people are being fully conscious, having the knowledge and of the things that we can perceive. So as a people, we can do things and watch some of these things we can get caught up in, because we can use things and we can abuse them. We can abuse these things. For such having the power. Let's look at something. I want to show you something. We having the power because we have the capability and consciousness to where we can perceive and do things. So now we have the power. Say you have a power of position over people. You can corrupt that not just with the wealth, but you can corrupt that same position for personal gain or influence over other people's matters for your own self-will. And being able to do that requires a level of consciousness. Having the ability to make the decision to do what you want to do. Actually, I want to tell you what, let's keep building on this and get the understanding why John is saying this in Revelation before we get there, but we want to understand what is going on. Let's look at this and we're going to find out something. This is us in a nutshell. I want to show you this in Romans chapter 1, and we're going to go over here to verse 23. But I want to show you something. I want you to see something. And we look at this here, and we see this. And we're going to see something here. I don't know why that would. But it says, and change the glory of an uncorruptible God into an image made like a corruptible man, including the birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. This is what we have done. This is what we have done. This is what we have done. See, things that we have to remember, so we know God. I know people could tell you all day, people will sit there and say, man, we're gods. What's up, God? So we know God, we have the consciousness of who God is, but we're not even thankful of God or even grateful for God. But by our own vain imaginations and the foolishness, we changed the glory of God and we switched it and we put it on a man. As if man created all things in this world. Tell you what, they even sit there, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, but man, with our own consciousness, our own ability to think, now we done brought up the Big Bang Theory. Think about that. Now they're saying the Big Bang Theory because they want to remove the greatness and the glory of God. So now they done brought it down to the Big Bang Theory. We came from microscopic things out of the water and we walked upon the water, and then all of a sudden we kept materializing and became these people. This is what brings you back to the flower. That flower cannot process consciousness, neither awareness or their whereabouts. I want you to stay with me. See, in fact, the flower, on what he's saying and what he wants us to see, the flower can be affected by the various environment factors because it cannot process awareness of locations of dangers. So since it can't do that, it can be in danger and it don't know it because it can't process that. So flowers are not capable. That makes the flower incapable of being corrupted. It just can be put in a position in that place and it just, all hell breaks loose and the flower is just there. But it's incapable of being corrupted. So once the world and the environment is around, as it starts being corrupted, the flower is going to fade. And so it's going to be affected by the various environmental factors from the corruption that's bearing there. Actually, let's build on this a little bit and we'll see a little bit more. Let's see a little bit more. We're going to go over here to Isaiah. We want to look at something in Isaiah chapter 28. I want to make sure we clearly get this in Isaiah 28, but we're going to look at verse 1. Isaiah 28, verse 1. And we're going to look at something here. It says, "Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is fading. It is a fading flower, which are the head of the fat valleys of them that are overcome with wine." Boom. We get hit. But let me break it down to where we can understand it. See, because just like I said, we over here, we have to go through the Paleo Hebrew. And see, you got people who tell you they read Paleo Hebrew, but I promise you, I guarantee you ain't never heard none of this what we say here because they've been lying to you the entire time. They're using Yiddish, but they're telling you they're reading Hebrew, and it's not the truth. But that's why we get here, because Ephraim, who is fertile in his doings, is what it's talking about. These drunkards is the wine bibblers. See, are glorious in their beauty, and it's being compared with these wine bibblers, these drunkards of Ephraim, who call themselves fertiles. They are as a fading, they withered, the flower, this beauty. It's telling you right there. They fading of this beauty. In their head is the fat, this covering of this valley, this talking about the deep. And overcome with wine, the faith of their own foreknowledge of their own prophecies. This is what this talking about right there. Plain, simple, right straight to the point. This is why we're getting caught up. This is why we're having a problem. But it gets better. It gets better. Oh, it gets way better than this. See, because the key is to not let any man take your crown. That's the key. Don't let any man take your crown. Because it says, woe to the crown of pride. Don't let any man take your crown. The crown is a wisdom which you have learned. Don't let no man take it. Don't let no man take your crown, period. Let's get a little bit deeper. Verse 6, 2nd Esdras, chapter 7, verse 6. It says, there is also another thing. A city is built on and set upon a broad field and full of good things. We got a problem here. We're going to share it in a second. And it says, the entrance thereof is narrow and set in dangerous place to fall, like comparing as if there was fire on one on the right hand and on the left a deep water. Now we got an issue. Now we got an issue here, and we got to see what this issue is, because when we're looking at verse 6, this city that we are entered is broad. It's broad. We here. We can't get around it. We here. So we're supposed to be the flower, just going through the stuff that's here, but we shouldn't be letting nothing corrupt these bodies. We're supposed to be like the flower, and we are dying based on the various things that's in this world. Everybody with me on this? But we don't supposed to, can something inject consciousness into a flower? No. So, you a fading flower? No. We let stuff corrupt us. We let corruption enter into us. We let these things happen to us. We let these things go into us, and then we all screwed up. I'm telling you, we all screwed up. So the city is broad, and the broad is a wide open court or a street. And then these things are seen as good. And we know, actually, we're going to tell you what, let's pull a little bit more. Let's look at it a little bit more. We're going to go to Genesis, but I'm going to go to chapter 1. But I'm going to hit 2, but we're going to go to 1. But I want you to see 31. The reason why I want you to see this one, this is what I want you to see. The reason I want you to see this, it says in Genesis chapter 1, verse 31, it says, and God saw everything that he had made, and remember, it was very good. Everything he made was very good. It's right, the record's right there. Everything God made was very good. The record's right there. And the evening and the morning was the sixth day. Plain, simple, straightforward. So we know this. Now we got to understand it was very good. But who are in the fields? Who are in the fields? Man who knew God, but was not seeking wisdom of God, because they seen themselves as God. I want you to think about this, because we got to look at how this works. Because if everything that God made was good, then we shouldn't be altering nothing. Nothing. So these things, look at it. Look at it. It's telling you, God saw everything that he made was good. I'm telling you, we can't get around this. And this is our problem all the time. We go over here to Sirach, and the reason why I got to pull up records, I got to pull the records on this. In Sirach chapter 39, picking it up at verse 25, it tells us a little bit more. So now God said everything that he made was good. He's telling you that I want you to put it right there, right beside it, to where we can look at it. And people sitting there, people I see, I'm glancing over here now and then, people sitting there saying, yeah, I see it, yes, yes, yes. But look at this. God saw that everything that he had made is good. Remember, it was very good. But the thing is, it says, for the good are good things created from the beginning. You see it. So evil things for the sinners. What happened? What happened? Something happened. So how is it all things that God created was good, but then for the sinners is evil? It's a reason for that. Let's go down to verse 27. Let's go down to verse 27, and then we're going to go somewhere. It says, these things are for good to the godly. So now they're good to the godly, to the righteous. And it says, so to the sinners, they turned into evil. Interesting. 100% interesting. Why? I'm going to show you why. Because we had to understand exactly what we are about and why we say it's corruptible. We're not the fading flower. We're supposed to be the fading flower, but we're not. We being no different. Let me go somewhere. We're going to go with 1 Timothy chapter 1. And you're going to see the same thing. He's going to repeat the same. Paul telling us the same identical thing. It's telling us, but we know that the law is good if providing a man use it lawfully. Y'all see that? So my question to you, my question to each and every one of us that is listening to me right now, everything God said he made is good, as long as we use it lawfully. As long as we use it lawfully. So the question becomes is this, and then it's turned to evil for sinners. We just seen it in Scripture. We just looked at it in Scripture. So it gets better. So I want to show you something. I want to show you something and make sure we can't get around it. So in Sirach, we're going to look at something. Sirach chapter 38. The reason I want to show you this is just to show you that how true the Bible is and why they even remove Sirachs. It says, the Lord created medicines out of the earth. Full thought. God created medicines out of the earth. I want you to meditate on that, because it says, including he that is wise. You should highlight wise. He that is wise will not harbor them. So my question to you is, we have all these doctors, we have all these scientists, we have all these people out there who can sit there and find out how to sit there and heal the body. Because he said he had created medicines out of the earth. Anything that's wrong with your body, he has a fix for it. He has a dose for it. And he said, and they in the earth. And a wise man. So now if the man is wise, so I'm going to ask you a question. How many doctors is wise? That's a viable question, because he's saying a wise man won't harbor them. A wise man won't harbor none of this. So now you have to go here and you got to look at these doctors who sitting there doing medical things on people and have to look at what's going on and sitting there saying, is this man wise? No. I don't care how you look at it, how you flip it, how you script it. He's not wise. Because God said, I made medicines out of the earth. Everything that I created is very good. He said it right. It was very good. And I also create these medicines in there, so if these bodies, something goes on with it, we can take care of it. But what they did, they had to take the things in the earth and then they made them for evil. So what they want to do is make sure they can put a patent on it to where they can have the rights to it. And then what they have done, now they're having people and they put you on these drugs. Drugs. The craziest thing, you go do the research. Go look at what the people did. They, back in the 50s, back in the 40s, back in the 30s, it was 1 out of 1,000 people that had cancer. 1 out of 1,000. You had to know somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, who aunt, who brother-in-law, who cousin, who have cancer. Today it's 1 out of 3. How did we go backwards? Every time you turn around, some new disease, some new virus is popping up. Something new. Every time we turn around, something new pops up. And then they talk about, oh, this is going on. This is the stupidest thing in the world. When they sit there talking about, these wasps is coming over from Africa. These killer wasps, these killer bees is coming from Africa. All this stuff is coming. So you gonna tell me they're gonna fly thousands of miles over the sea, and don't you know they will fall right into the ocean? But they didn't come that way. They brought them here. But they gonna tell you they came here. How did they come here? Did they talk to them and say, okay, hey, killer bees, what time y'all going to the Americas? We don't know. We're gonna go there in a couple of months. Okay. And then they come on the news and they tell you, and when they tell you about this, the first thing we do is believe that man. And knowing good and well, they couldn't have did it unless they brought it. unless they brought it. It's telling you. God made these medicines and things out of the earth, and he that is wise will not harbor them. It's impossible. It's impossible to sit there to say that your doctor, and if he's a practicing doctor, he's practicing medicine. He ain't a medicine physician, he's practicing medicine. That's why it says he practiced medicine. But it gets better. Oh, it get way better than this. So as it says right here, it says it right here. This field is broad. And whereas sinners here going to be on this journey, on this path that we taking. Sinners are here on this journey that we are taking. So as we here, we got this narrow path we have to follow. And men that is corrupted, they full of corruptions in their using. So that's why he says it's fires on one side, these desires and trying to show you these good things. And these are sinners that is in them. It's telling you, fire. It's fire on one side. There's the fire. Those are those desires. You seeing these things, they looking all shiny and brand new. Getting caught up. And on the left, deep water. Deep water. The counsels of the heart. You see how you got Adam caught up? Telling you it's okay to eat it. And there, actually, let's pour a little bit more. Let's pour a little bit more. We got to pour a little bit more. It says, in one only path between them both, even between the fire and water, so small, there could be one man enter at once. One. 18 inches wide, one man can go through there at once. You can't even turn around. It's right here, right in front of you. Right in front of you. There's only one path. And that path is called the King's Highway. And you don't let nothing on the right tempt you. You don't let nothing on your left tempt you. God's path is in this wilderness. It's small, it's narrow. We got to remember where we are. We in the wilderness. So if you, of all people of this world, think about it. If all the people of this world was born into the kingdom of God, think about it. What you will be dealing with for eternity. Crookedness. If we was all born in eternity, crookedness, rapes, you name it. It's there. If you was born in eternity, I want you to keep that. I want that to sink down in your skull. If we was born in eternity, you just think about what you'll be dealing with forever. Getting these diseases, you can't die. You had the disease forever. You have these things, these ailments forever. If you was born in the kingdom, let's look at something. So we got to see what's going on. So we got to see why he did what he did. It says, providing this city was now given unto man for an inheritance. So if we was given this world, what we in right now, for an inheritance. I want you to think about that. If he never passed through the dangers set before it, how should he receive this inheritance? We trying to get to the kingdom of heaven. We entered into this city right now. We in here where lions and tigers and bears. And we in this city where it's a city of crime. It's a city of violence. It's a city of killing. A city of lies. A city of adultery. All this is here. And this inheritance is from God. And this inheritance is from God. They said, that, yeah, it's from God. No, it ain't. Why are you going to sit there and leave you in hell? This inheritance is man. tell you what most people do. I tell you what, you got most people on TV, and they're going to teach you. And they'll sit there and say, we're going to tell you the best thing for you to have. And you can see it is rapid. Actually, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to look at the thing. I want to make sure everybody's seeing this and understand where I'm coming from. People are going to tell you the best thing for you to build for your children is generational wealth. Tell me I'm lying. They say it all the time. Best thing, the rich and the poor who trying to come up, they say the best thing we try to build for our children is generational wealth. So our children's children won't have to worry about nothing. Tell me it ain't true. Tell me that ain't true. And you hear it all the time. They tell me all the time they say this. And the craziest thing is this. Why are you trying to get generational wealth on earth and what you can leave your children is inheritance, which is in the kingdom of God? That's what you should be trying to teach them what this word is. That's the inheritance to show how to get to the kingdom. They get eternal wealth. I'm telling you, we can't get out our own way. We can't get out our own way on this stuff. You look at this and the inheritance that's being left in, you think about where your inheritance is being left. Your inheritance is left in a city of crime and violence and killings and lies and adulteries. That's where your inheritance is. Then you can never receive the joyfulness of the peace because you never experienced it on the side of man. Because it's full of dangers on this side. So we have to get to where we got to go. So if we receive the inheritance from God, then we can experience. We have to go through the experience. We have to go through this world to get there. And now we know what to look forward to. If you're sitting there saying, I tell you what, anybody, we can live right here the way it is right now, who would want to stay here? And you know, on the other side is life and peace. They say, do you want to stay on this side or do you want to stay on that side? What side do you want? Do you want life and peace with God or do you want to live with life and peace with man? And anybody say they want to stay with man, I say something wrong with them. Something wrong with them. Something got to be wrong with you. Something got to be wrong with you if you want to stay on this side with man. But it gets better. It gets better. Uncle Idris, he breaks this down for us and all the time. So he's saying this in verse 10. We got to look at verse 10 and see what he's saying here. He says, and I said, it is so. It is so, Lord. It's so. Then he said unto me, even so also is Israel's portion. Israel's portion is over there. You got to go through this to get there. That's the way it is. So this is why we have to take this path. He chose this path. Now you got to remember, we got to pay attention to his voice. And he's sitting there, because I already know which way I would. Lord say, hey, Michael, come here. What? This is the way the path we're going to go there. You got Crips and Bloods all down this street. And they be killing people all this. But Michael, this the path we got to go. Why we got to go this way? We can go around this way. No, we got to go this way. But guess what? We got to follow him. We got to trust in the Lord. We got to trust him. We sitting there looking at it. Oh, this is all crazy. So this is why we got to take this path. Because this path is evil. It's full of sin. Actually, let's pour a little bit more. Let's pour a little bit more. Actually, I can go up. And we're going to see something. I want to go up and I want to show you something. And we're going to look at 2 Idris chapter 6. The reason why, but we're going to look at 6, and I want to show you something in verse 9. Because we got to find out what this world is all about. This world is a whole different ball game. And it's telling you right here in 2 Idris chapter 6, verse 9, it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob, the surplanter, is the beginning of it that follows. So we got to go through this. We got to go through the world of Esau. Esau don't mean nothing but covered with sin. We have to go through this place where it's covered with sin. So, but if we leave behind this flesh, we can see what Israel's portion is. But we have to leave it. So now we understand the construct on what he's saying. But watch what he says in verse 11. He's going to tell you something. He's going to make us mad, but we got to deal with it. We're here. It says, because for their sakes, I made the world. Why he going, okay, let's go through it again. Why would he put you in eternity and we got all these sinful, evil people here right now? He got to test. He got to prove you and see what you going to do. Why would he have them there? Yeah, okay, I get what he was doing. Okay, that's why he was doing this. This is why we got to go through here. This is why we got to deal with what we dealing with today. He said, for their sakes, I made the world. When Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. This is why he had to do this. So we got to understand. So he said, for their sakes. So for their pleas. For their pleas. See, because actually, let's pull some more information to where we can't get around nothing. We don't want to get around nothing. And everybody, I know y'all don't want to get around nothing, so let's don't get around nothing. Let's look at this in in Hebrews chapter 9, but we're going to pick this one up at verse 27. We're going to pick it up at verse 27 because we don't want nothing to get away from us. And we know this one because just like I said, I actually talked to somebody about this yesterday. It says, and as in comparing is appointed unto man once to die. But after the judgment, the doctrines and the teachings on how you got here. See, somebody going to show up at God's door sinful, and somebody going to show up righteous. And the one that's sinful, he going to say, who you? How you get here? What you doing here? No, you going somewhere else. See, this is what's going through. So we got to go through some things. We got to understand what's going on. So it's appointed for us once to die. And don't let nothing corrupt you. We're going to be destroyed based on the elements in the environment that we in. So we should be like that fading flower. So, but being put in bondage and taking this journey is nonsense. This is where you sit there and you don't let somebody talk to you. Let's look at something. Let's look at this plea. I want to show you something in the plea. And we're going to see this a little bit closer. I want to take you over to Exodus. And we're going to look at Exodus chapter 3 and look at verse 7. Because I'm going to show you what he's talking about. In Exodus 3, verse 7. And you're going to see why he's talking about this plea. He said, for their sakes, for this plea, this is why he did it. So he's telling us right over here. He says, because for their sakes. So for their pleas, he made this world. They say, I made this world. For their pleas. But let's see what's going on. It says in Exodus chapter 3, verse 7, it says, and the Spirit of God said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people. Yeah, these flowers, I done seen them. And the people which are in Egypt, they're in bondage, including I have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. So for their sakes, I had to make this world. But he gets better. Verse 8. So now he's going to tell you what he come to do. He says, I come down to deliver them out of the power of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land, enlarged unto the land flowing with milk and honey, and unto the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. Because he didn't heard it. But he says more here. We want to jump up a little bit more. We want to go down here to Exodus chapter 22, but we're going to look at verse 22 and we're going to pour some more information and get a better understanding. And he's telling you right here. It says, and ye shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. He told Moses what to tell us. He was the God of our father Abraham. He was the God of our father Isaac. And he was the God of our father Jacob. And he heard the cry of we getting beat down. And he told us what he's going to do. It's right there. He says, and if they afflict any widow or fatherless child, but he says more here. We're going to see what he's saying here. Providing thou afflict them in any wise, you afflict them any kind of way, including they cry unto me, and they following me, not being part of the world. They following me. See, he making sure you clear. And they following me. He said, I'll surely hear their cry. I'm going to hear them. But we got our trust in man. We got our whole hopes in man. But he said more. And my wrath shall wax hot. See, you don't want him to get hot, but we can't come together as a people. We can't come together as a people. We got to come together as everything else but a people. He said, and we cry to him as a people doing right. He's telling you right up front. He gonna get hot. He said, and I will kill you with a sword. He's telling you, he gonna kill him. He gonna take him out. He says, and your wives, she should be widows, and your children's fatherless. This is out of the mouth of God. You mess with his, and they just following him, and you afflict them. See, people talk about what happened to that guy, but guess what? We ain't rolling as a people. First thing we'll do is what Dumb Martin told everybody, go out there and march. You out there, it happened in one state, you marching in another state. You do something happened in New York, they marching in California. Do you know how dumb that is? People really ain't understand the dumbness behind it. It happened in Texas, they marching in Georgia. I'm telling you, you can't even make this stuff up. And then they're going to say, yeah, we marched. What you march for? Did anything change? I'll tell you what, all the marching people did during George Floyd, all the marching over the world, have anything changed? Have anything changed? That lets you know how much your marching works. We gonna march. We gonna march. Oh, we gonna march. So this is why he got this construct here. This is why this construct is here. That's why this construct is built. And he says this. Let's pull a little bit more. Let's pull a little bit more. We're going to look at Exodus chapter 16, but we want verse 4 on this. So we got to understand what he's saying and really pay attention to what he's doing. It says, then said the Spirit of God unto Moses, remember one thing, Moses. I will rain bread from heaven for you. I'm going to rain bread from heaven for you, including the people shall go out. So he said, so each and every one of us should go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them, whether they will walk in my law or no. Simple thing. Hard to do for us. Simple thing, hard for us to do. See, because he said, all I'm going to do, I'm going to rain some bread every day. You go out and collect it, and I'm going to see. All you got to do, go out there and get it. Come back, go out there and get it the next day. Come back, go out there. We can't even do that. We can't even do that. And Adam transgressed this whole thing. And see, Adam, that's talking about him and her. Actually, let me go there. I just want to make sure we all on the same page. I want to make sure we all on the same page. In Genesis chapter 5, verse 2, it says this, and it's real clear. It's real clear, because Adam talking about both of them, the man and the woman. It says, male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam. Him and her was called Adam. Adam separated them names. So, but what we did, we transgressed this against God. We forgot. We forgot God's statutes. We forgot his similitudes, his images. So now we're on this journey. We're on this path. It was decreed. It was ordered. That's why he said he ordered this. He ordered this. For your sakes, he made this world. Because Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed, that is now done. This is why this is done now. So the same thing right now, that's why he said, let the wheat and the tares, let them grow together. Because they're gonna show who they are. You're going to see who's who. Let them grow together. But be the flower. You're going to sit there, you're going to die based on the elements and the things in this world. Don't take it in. And most of us, we can't do that. But I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you why we have the problem we have and why we have the issues we have. In Luke chapter 9, but we're going to look at verse 3. We're going to see something Yahushua said out of his own mouth. And we see, and we can't even take good instruction. He says, take nothing for your journey. Don't take nothing. Dude, everybody know what nothing means? I can take this. I'll take this. It'll be all right to take that. Really? He says, take nothing for you. We can't even follow this simple instruction. Take nothing. Highlight nothing in your Bible. That's what you need to. Take nothing for your journey. Do everybody know what nothing means? Do everybody? We can't understand nothing. I can take this. He didn't say take that. He said take nothing. Don't take neither staff, no script, neither bread, neither money, neither 2 coats of peace. I need you to sit there to listen directly to me, and I got to cover you with everything. But we ain't even got that. No, this is my favorite blanket. I got to take this. Just crazy. We gonna go on the journey and with the rules, and he gave us the rules on what we're supposed to do, but we can't even be obedient. And actually, let me show you something. I want to show you something. We're gonna go here to Genesis chapter 1, but we're gonna look at verse 26, 27. We can't even follow this. We can't even follow this correctly. We can't follow nothing. We can't follow simple instructions. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, it says, God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. Let me make man after our image and after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, including over the cattle, over all the earth, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image God created he him. Male and female created he them. And we can't follow those simple instructions that he said right up there. Simple instructions. Why? We forgot. I'm telling you, we forgot. This is our problem. I'll show you something. Isaiah, I'm telling you, boy, I want to be just as calm, but let's look at something Isaiah said in chapter 1, verse 3. Isaiah said this, and you can understand, he said, an ox know his owner, an ass his master's crib. But Israel, we can stop right there, but Israel. I'm telling you, we can't get out our own way. Wait a minute. An ox, a dumb beast, knows his owner. An ass know how to get back home. Think about an ass know how to get back home. I want you to really think about that. Israel is saying Jehovah's servant, but an ass know how to get to the house. An ox knows who the owner is. I want you to think about that. And the first thing he says, but Israel. Wait a minute. He's going to talk about two dumb beasts. And then he said, but Israel, here we go. People who got a conscience, who can perceive, who can make intelligent decisions, but Israel. Oh, but Israel. Oh, but us. Don't know nothing. A people that don't even consider. Why? We too dang stupid. We too stupid to figure out stuff. We can't even figure out our own way. He's the best thing that they even said. They said, you want to hide something from Israel? Put it in the book. Put it there. I guarantee you they ain't gonna know. Some of us just now waking up. Put it in the book. Most people think they became who they are once we came off that ship. You think black people just came into existence when we came off the ship. We can't get out of our own way. I'm telling you, So he said something. So he had to decree this. This had to be done. This had to go down. But let's get some more information. We're going to get some more information. We're going to see what's going on here. So it says, then were the entrance of this world made narrow. That's why he had to make it narrow. We had to walk this straight path. A straight path. It was made narrow. But guess what? And it's stuff on both sides. It's stuff on both sides. It's full of sorrows and travail. They were but few and evil, full of perils, and very painful. This stuff is very painful. We getting ready to go through something, and it's very painful. This is why this entrance is narrow. Actually, same thing here. I want you to keep something in mind. Keep this in mind as I go through it. I'm gonna read the whole thing, but I want you to understand one thing. And you got a lot of people still following this other way. It's in Psalms chapter 23. We're going to use all Psalms chapter 23. And he's telling you, this road that we on, this road is narrow in its sorrow, in its travail, in few evils and full of perils and very painful. That I want you to keep in mind as I read this. It says, the Spirit of God is my shepherd. So this is who you're supposed to follow. But you got people following men. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. But we ain't using him. We following a man. He maketh me lie down in green pasture. He leadeth me beside still waters. Not the man. We gonna follow a man. A man. This is why it says, all we got to do, go on the left or go on the right. Go on the left or go on the right. And see what's going to happen. This is stuff is going to happen. And then it says, he restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness. Don't that man can't lead you nowhere. Told you, look at me, Flavor Flav. I'm telling you what time it is. And you sit there and you follow that man. You follow me. See, the only thing you need to follow is what's coming out of my mouth. That's it. And I'm showing it to you. You can see it right there on the screen. You see the word of God. That's what you're supposed to be following. And if you're going to follow a man, you should bust hell wide open. You should go to hell. It's telling you right there, you're supposed to be following the Spirit of God, and you're going to follow a man. You should bust hell wide open. He said, he restored my soul. He leaded me in the path of righteousness for his ways' sake. Watch what happens. Watch what happens here. It says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we on this journey. We on this journey. I will fear no evil, for thou art, A-R-T, thou art, and thy perfection and thy beauty is with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me, in the presence of me, in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with the oil, and my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I will dwell in the house of the Spirit of God forever. But we don't do that. We follow a man. And you got these dudes, oh, I'm the shepherd. They dumb as rocks, and we sit right there. Oh, yeah, well, he knows what's going on. Dumb as a rock. That's why I said, then this entrance was made narrow. So if you get caught on going on that side, on the left, and you get caught on going on the right, yo, you going to get got. Oh, you going to get got. And see, he got something else for you. Oh, he got something else. Watch this. Well, I want to show you something. I want you to make sure we're all on the same page. In 2 Samuel chapter 7, I want to show you something. So this is why what happened was a tragedy, but we see what we follow. We see what we follow. Watch this. In 2 Samuel chapter 7, picking up at verse 14, this is why we sit there and you see us get killed at high numbers and nothing nobody do. He says, I will be his father and he shall be my son. Providing he commit iniquity, he commit these acts of sin, I will chasten him with the rod of men. I'm going to do it with a man. I'm going to do him in with a man. And some of them men decide to go overboard. So some of the men decide to stay on your neck a little bit longer to where all the breath could leave out of your body. Some men decide to shoot you, even though you're fully unarmed. Some men sit there and put you in the wrong neighborhood to where they can kill you. Some men hang you from trees. Some men sit there, put you out in the middle of the ocean and drown you. Some men put you in the electric chair. Some put you in the gas chambers. They're going to do something, but they're going to chasing you. But he already warned us what was going to happen in Deuteronomy. This is what's going on. This is what's going on here. This is why this problem going to keep happening. He said, I will chasten you with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. They're going to be the ones going to do you in. So we see this and we have to see what's going on. And what we do, we want to sit there and hold on to men that's going to rip us off. Look at this. We can't get around nothing, but it's here. In Micah chapter 3, picking it up at verse 11, it says this, make sure that, I want to make sure you clear on what's going on. He said, I'm going to give you pastors that will feed you with knowledge and understanding. And it's telling you in Micah chapter 3, verse 11, it says, the heads thereof judge, they teach for reward. But you got these men out there working for money. The priests thereof teach for hire. The prophet thereof divine for money. Yet they lean upon the Spirit of God and say, is not the Lord among us? Hell no, he ain't among you. But guess what? He got the word. What did he teach on? I don't know. Well, you got to get the tape. You got to get the tape. You got to go here. Really? That's interesting. He can't tell you nothing. He can't tell you nothing. And I'm going to tell you something. Even one of the biggest experiences that most people miss. I take people here, I done took them here 3 or 4 times. And every time I took them there, nobody never really caught what went on. But I'm going to show it to you today because you need to see what's going on. You need to understand how this works. Let's look at something. I want to show you something. We're going to go over here. We're going to go over here to 2nd Maccabees. Let's go to 1st Maccabees. We're going to go to 1st Maccabees, then we hit 2nd Maccabees. So we're going to go to 1st Maccabees. We're going to pick it up at chapter 1. But the first thing I want to do, I want to show you 60 and 61. 60 and 61. Make sure you jot that down. 60 and 61. I want you to make sure you jot that down. We're going to look at this. And we're going to get a real good understanding right here. 60, 61. I want to show you something. In these 2 verses right here. These 2 verses right here. Show you something. See, what we got to do when it comes to disobedience and men's taking money, and it comes to disobedience, we're not following the voice. I want to show you a good example on what happens. A good example on what happens. People saying that, boy, he ain't even got to Philadelphia yet. Oh, you going to find out about it. Oh, you going to find out about it. You going to find out if you're that flower or not. So what we looking at is 60. It says, it at which time, according to the commandment, they be put to death, certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised, being following God. And it says, and they hang infants about their necks and raffled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them. So what this saying? What is this saying? We need to find out what this saying. So what we saying in a nutshell, when they raffled these houses, they were seized and carried off. But before they did it, some of the women got raped. Some of them was raped. Because they're not going to have no remorse for you. No remorse for no child. Actually, let's look at this a little bit closer. Just like I said, Deuteronomy 28 going to tell it to you all day. Deuteronomy chapter 28, we're going to look at verse 50. And I'm going to show you why people sitting there, oh, that's so cold. Why do you think they're showing it to you on TV? They numbing you to this. They numbing you to where it's going to be normal things on TV. Let's look at this in verse 50. With that rod of men that I showed you in 2 Samuel, it says, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And he said, we getting caught up into this. We getting caught up into this trap. Getting caught up. And we on this path, and we keep turning off these paths. Following everything that don't have nothing to do with God. Following men, and then they sitting there, they just put this flavor, well, we're Israel. And then, I'm going to follow them. I'm going to follow them. So I'm going to show you something to show you how shady families can get. How shady families can get. I'm going to show you this, and I want you to make sure you pay real close attention to what's going on. Real close attention. We're going to look at Maccabees chapter 7. We're going to look at this in verse 1. Chapter 7, we're going to pick it up at verse 1. And I want you to really clearly understand what's getting ready to go down. It says, it came to pass that 7 brethren with their mother was taken and compelled by the king against the law to experience swine's flesh. To experience swine's flesh, and they was tormented with scourging whips. I want that to sink in as we move down. This got to sink in. Because with verse 2, we're going to see what happened. It says, but one of them that spake first said thus, why wouldst thou ask to learn about, what you want to learn about us for? What you want to know about us? We are ready to die rather than to transgress the law of our fathers. So we get ready to find out something. See, he sat there and opened up his mouth, and he should have kept his mouth shut, but that's okay. You ready? Oh, okay. You ready to die? You ready to die? Huh? Okay, I got something for you. You want to experience? Okay, you ain't gonna eat it? Okay, I got something for you. Let's go down to verse 3. See, he's running this. You ain't running nothing. The same thing, they sitting there saying, you ain't running nothing here but your mouth. That's it. It says, then the king, being enraged, commanded pans and cadrons to be made hot. You ain't running nothing here. You ain't running nothing here. But he gets better. You're going to see what go down. You're going to see what go down. He says, which forthwith, being heated, he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first. I'm going to cut your tongue out. You said, you ready to die? I got something for you, bro. Come here. Cut his tongue out. Cut it. He said it with his tongue, cut it out. They said they're not going to play with us. When y'all saw that man and he was kneeling on his neck and they was blocking you, saying, no, y'all don't come here. We got to finish killing him. We got to finish killing this guy. We ain't done yet. And then when y'all finish, go march. It happened in Cali, and y'all go march down there in Kansas City. Go do that. Go find something to do. So when he cut that tongue out, the man spake first, and cut off the utmost parts of his body, and the rest of his brother and his mother looked on, and he made sure they can see it. Probably was taunting them with it. You don't know what they could have been doing. Hey, they just cut off arm. Hey, y'all want an arm? Do y'all want an arm? Oh, but he gets better. He gets way better. So now we're going to see something more. Verse 5. When he had thus he maimed this dude. He crippled him and everything else you can name. He maimed him with all his members. He commanded him to be put alive, be brought into the fire, and to be fried in the pan, like you frying chicken. Like you frying chicken, they're going to put him in there. And as the vapors of the pan was good space dispersed, they exhorted one another. They had to encourage one another. Something getting ready to go down, and this ain't cool. So they exhorted one another. They're going to encourage one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus. What you going to say? Because they know this, they know what's getting ready to go down. The Creator God looked upon us, including in truth, have comforted in us. Comparing Moses in his song, which witness of their faces, declared, saying, and he shall be comforted of his servants. You see, he's saying this right here. And they doing them in. They doing them in. So they had to encourage one another. But who is this? Who is this guy doing this stuff? You're going to find out this Antichrist. You're going to find out in 1 second, this is Antichrist running this. He's running this party. So let's go down. Let's go down a little bit. We're going to look at something. Actually, want to tell you what? Let's go over here. I want to pull these both in there. And we're going to run something. I want to show you something. So we're going to look at 2 Maccabees. We want to pull something in here. 2 Maccabees chapter 7. Actually, 2 Maccabees chapter 7. I want to show you something ahead of time. Chapter 7. But we want verse 19. We want that verse 19. We getting ready to see something. So as he's sitting there, they talking about what's going on. He says, but think not thou takest thy power to strive against God, that thou shalt escape unpunished. So this is the point. See, because we're not going to escape unpunished. I want you to keep that in mind. We are not going to escape this unpunished. But he's saying something even more. As we're not going to escape something unpunished, we're gonna just jump ahead a little bit. We're gonna find out some other stuff. Because I want you to see what we got to be comforted, but we're gonna see. Verse 20. It said, but the mother was marvelous above all and worthy, honorable in memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain, I want you to think about that. She saw 7 of her sons killed. But if you go back and read it all. She watched 7 of her sons killed. And you're going to see, it says, within a space of a day, she bare it with good courage because of her hope, her desire, the expectation that she had in the Creator. But we getting ready to find out something. A whole big different ball game. Verse 21, it says, yea, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courage, with courageous spirit, including stirring up her womanish thoughts. In manfully stomach, she said unto them. So she's going to speak to these boys as they getting killed. And she's speaking to the one because there was one left. It was one of them left. And that was the youngest one. So she getting ready to tell him something where we got to understand it. She said, I cannot tell how ye came into my womb. For I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you. She's telling this to her youngest son. This is what she's telling her youngest son. It gets a little bit more. So she said the same thing. She said, but doubtless, the creator of the world who formed the generations of men and found out the beginning of all things will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as ye now regard not your own selves for his law's sake. Because what he's doing something. He wants them to see something. So we're going to see, just like I told you, this Antichrist. This is Antichrist, the one, this is the high roller. Antichrist means the oppressor. So Antichrist thinking himself displeased and suspecting it to be a reapproachful speech. So that's what he's thinking she's telling her son. Something that's reapproachful about him. So Willis, the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him. So he's telling, he wanted him to talk to the mama, to talk to this boy. Also assured him with an oath that he would make him both, the mom and this little boy, both rich and a happy man. Now, mind you, he just watched all 6 of his brothers get killed by this man. And the mother watched it also. But now she's got to encourage this boy to do what we're going to see. Let's read on. We're going to see what's happening. It says, if he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs. Look what this is. Antichrist ain't no joke. And seeing it goes right back to this, then we're gonna go back. So this is what he's pulling. This is why I say you gotta watch. Luke chapter 4, verse 7, telling you this right here. If thou wilt therefore worship me, all shall be thine. This Antichrist. Now he just watched all 6 of his brothers killed, maimed, and took apart, and fried like chicken. So he's telling him right here. He's telling him what's going on. Now we got to remember something. We're going to get to verse 25. It says, but when the young man would no case hearken unto him, the king called his mother. So he said, hey, I need you to talk to this kid. You're going to see, the king called his mother and exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life. So he said, I would need you to go talk to this kid. Because he ain't acting right. He's not doing what I need him to do. I showed him, I just killed all his brothers, and he's still sitting there, and he's still ready to die. So he told him, you go talk to him. Because I told him, I'll make both of y'all rich, and y'all will be happy. So the mama, when she had exhorted her son, I wanted to see what she encouraged his son. With many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son. But we got to look at this. Verse 27. So she going to talk to him. So she bowed forward towards him. She's laughing. She's laughing at her son. She's talking to him. But she's laughing in this cruel tyrant and scorn, and spake of her country language on this matter. Because Antichrist don't know what she's saying. So she's talking to the son. She said, oh, my son, you see what, oh, my son, have pity on me, that I bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave suck 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up unto this age, and endured troubles of education. I endured these things. I'm not educated like everybody else is. So we see right here, and we look at verse 28. It gets down a little bit more. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and earth, and all that is therein, and consider that God made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise. So you see right here, and it gets a little bit more, and she's telling him more so with this part. This is the main part she wanted him to focus on. She said, fear not this tormentor. Don't fear him. You have nothing, because he want to be your friend. He want to make you rich. So don't fear him. He going to make us both rich. Don't fear this man. But be worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy. Cut God loose. That's all she's telling him. But we got to see what's going on. Because the boy, he decided to speak. While she yet speaking these words, the young man said said, whom wait ye for? So who in the hell are you waiting for, mama? Who are you waiting for? I will not obey the king's commandment, but I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers Moses. But watch what he ain't done talking to her. Because he's going to tell you in verse 31, he going to make sure this is clear. He said, for you, mama, you have been the author of all mischief. You the one got us caught up in this stuff. This is why the man sat there and wanted us to experience swine flesh. This is all the thing, everything that you have done, it was on you. You have been nothing but a mischief. You thinking you getting ready to get some money. Let me show you something. See, this what people should have been called. But we're going to look at Deuteronomy chapter 28. I want to show you something, 28:55. 28:55, you're going to find out something very important here. Very important here. 28:55. And it tells us right here. It's so clear. And it tells us, 28:55, it tells us this. It says that she will not give any of them flesh of her children whom ye shall eat, because he have nothing left in the siege and the straightness wherewith thy enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. That's the point, but you getting ready to see the whole thing about what's getting ready to go down. It says in this is where she comes into play. It says, in the tender, delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set soul of her desire upon the ground. For delicacies and the tenderness of her understanding, as she was talking about her education, see, she brought that education up. So in her understanding, shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom, including towards her son and towards her daughter. But it gets better. And towards the young one that come from between her feet, her desires, and towards her children, which she shall bear, and she shall eat them. That's why she let all that stuff happen to him. For want of all things secretly in the siege of straightness, wherewith thy enemies shall distress thee in thy gates. So she just sitting there, we gonna be cool. Don't fear him. He's cool. Don't worry about it. He killed your brother, but don't worry about it. He's cool with you. He's going to be cool with you. In the sunshine, Mom, this is why we're here. For mischief against the Hebrews. He's telling her right there. For mischief against the Hebrews shall not escape the hands of God. Right in front of you. So he already know what he got to go through. He know what he got to go through. Watch this. Let's go somewhere. Verse 32. It says, for we suffer because of our sins because of what you did. Because of what you did, we missed it. What you did, we missed it. For what you did, we didn't just send up a whirlwind. He's telling her right up front, but he's saying this right here. He says, and through the living Creator, being angry with us for a while, our chastening and correction yet shall be at once again with his servants. So we dying, we getting in trouble for the right reasons. But he's saying this, and why you want to make sure that you clearly get this. And this is why this is always said. We're going to look at something in Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 54, and we're going to find out a little bit more here. 54, and we want to look at verse 7. This is why he says this. It's actually already highlighted, but it's telling you right here in verse 8, it says, for a small moment I have forsaken thee, but with great mercies I will gather thee. In the little wrath I hid my face from thee for a moment, but with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on thee, saith the Spirit of God, thy Redeemer. So he's telling them right up front, this is what I'm going to do. So this kid understands that, and he also understands the second part of that, because it went through 2 Samuel, and that's the one I showed you earlier. So we'll see this same one, 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 14. Same one we went through, we just seen it, but you see why he said that, and this is what happened. Because he told him right up front, he said, I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. So the son completely understood this. He completely understood this, what was going on with his brother. So we dealing with this guy, and we dealing with more stuff, and we see verse 34, see what he's talking about. It says, but thou, O godless man, and all the uttermost wicked, be not lifted up without cause, nor puffed up uncertain hopes, lifting up thy power against the servants of God. Don't think you're going to get away from this. He's letting him know. Because he's letting him know, you ain't going to get away from this, because he's going to show him. He says, for thou hast not yet escaped the judgment, the doctrines, and teaching of the Almighty God, who seeth all things. He see all this. He see what my old crooked mama doing. He see what she done did. And it's telling you right up front what's going on. It says, for our brethren who are now suffered a short pain, as God said, he said, for a small moment I have forsaken thee, but with great mercies I'm going to gather thee. He can't look upon sin. It said, for this short pain are dead under God's covenant of everlasting life. But thou, though the judgment of God, shall receive just punishment for thy pride. He said, but you going to get hooked. Don't worry about it, bro. You going to get hooked up. Don't worry about it. You going to get hooked up. But you got to remember one thing, what he's talking about is this. See, this young man did not care. And that's what killed him. That's what really made Antiochus mad. But I'm going to show you something that you hold on to in Philippians chapter 1, but we're going to look at verse 21. See, he was actually telling him this. For to me, I live in Christ. I live as Christ. And to die is gain. If you kill me, I'm good. If you don't kill me, I'm good. That's what he's letting him know. Right up front, no sugarcoating. So we know what we're going to go through this torment. So in verse 27, it tells us this. It says, but I, comparing my brethren, offered up my body, including life for the law of fathers, beseeching God that he would speedily be merciful unto our nation, and that thou by torments and plagues mayest confess that he alone is God. And he going to end up confessing that. That he going to end up confessing. It gets down more. And we're going to go down all the way to here. It says, and that in me and my brethren, the wrath of the Almighty, which is justly brought upon our nation, may cease. Then the king, being enraged, because he's hot. This dude talking this trash to him. So the king is enraged now, and he handed him worse than all the rest. So now he gonna hook this one up. So he handled him worse, and took it grievously that he was mocked. So this man died undefiled. So this young one, he died undefiled, and put his whole trust in the Creator. Now you see what happened. And you see right here in verse 41, you see what happened here. And after all that, the sons, the mother died. But how did she die? Something for you to think about. Something for you to think about. Because what we got to remember is one thing. Is verse 42. It says, let this be enough now to have spoken concerning the adulterous feast and extreme tortures. The adulterous feast, this worshiping of idols, worshiping of men. Because they'll do this thing and you'll sit there and suffer with it. We'll do this thing. So the feast is the instructions and learning of their wisdom. So this is why I keep going back to here. I go right back to Romans chapter 1, verse 23. It's going to keep popping up because it's there. You can't get around it. In Romans chapter 1, verse 23, it says, and they changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into the image made like a corruptible man. This is what we did. This is what we did. So we go back here. Second Esdras, chapter 7, we look at this. So we see why this had to happen. And it says, for the interests of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. This is why it was done. This is why it was done. This is why I was showing you this again ahead of time. So I was showing you stuff ahead of time. We're going to go back to Genesis, chapter 1, verse 31. It says, and God saw everything that he had made was and remember, it was very good. The same we see with Sirach. And we look at 39:27. This is why I showed you that early on to where we can get a grasp on what was happening. We're going to go to verse 27. It says, all things are good for the godly, and to the sinners, they're turned to evil. So we have to understand what's going on. And if we understand these things, so everything in this earth is good, but for sinners, they made and they perform evil with it. So they still look to bring forth immortal fruit, and they want to change the glory of God with evil ways. That's impossible. And as it says right here in verse 14, it says, providing that they lived and labored not to enter into the straight, this small, narrow path, but they want to go in vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. You'll never get there. Flesh and blood and the glory of it will never enter into the kingdom of God, ever. So with that, what have we learned from this, and what do we understand from it? We got to go to where it is. In Revelation chapter 3, but we're going to look at verse 7. It's the same thing like I said from the beginning. It tells us here. It says, and to the messenger of the church, to this body in Philadelphia write, these things he said that is separated. He that is true, he that have key of David the beloved, he that openeth, and no man shutteth, and shutteth no man openeth. This is to his elect saints. This is to them. So as we coming down to this, we want to understand all what he's saying, and we want to get a better understanding. So we just want to make sure we find out what he's asking us. In Ecclesiastes chapter 12, but we're going to look at verse 13. Here's what he said. It said, hear the conclusion. Let us hear the whole conclusion. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter, It says, desire God and keep his commandments. For this is the duty, the whole duty of man. This is the whole duty of man. In fact, it goes on more. And this is why he's saying this. In Revelation chapter 22, in verse 14. Wisdom is given are they, blessed are they that do his commandments, that they have right to the tree of life and may enter into the gates through the city. It's them. It's them. God's instructions is here. And we got to remember this. Remember this as we closing down, and keep this in mind. Deuteronomy chapter 10, picking it up at verse 12. And never forget it. To Israel. It says, now Israel, what do the Spirit of thy God require of thee? But to desire the Spirit of thy God, to walk in his ways, to promise him to serve the Spirit of thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. To keep the commandments of the Spirit of God and his statutes, which I command thee this day. Remember, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Spirit of God. The earth also, with all that there is in. We have to remember this. So as he goes on here and he tells us, as we hear, don't think you fooling him. He says, I know thy works. Remember, I have set before thee in thy presence the open door. No man can shut it, and thou hast little strength. So just as I said, we have little strength. But many of us has kept my word and have not denied my way. This is what he's looking at. So we don't let no man deceive us on by any means. He's saying this, and why we got to look at everything real close. In 2 Thessalonians, picking it up at chapter 2, but we want to look at verse 3. This is why I said the same thing. Said it once, saying it again. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Don't let this happen. Because this man is what he said, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worship, so that he as God, sitting in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. You see what he's saying. And you see, it says, remember ye that when I was yet with you, I told you these things. He told us this stuff. And he says this here. It says, and now ye withhold that ye might be revealed in this time, for the mystery of the acts of sin doeth already the work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out the way. This is why it's so serious. Because everybody is not followers of Christ. Everybody is not there. He tells you right here in verse 9 in Revelation. It says, remember, I will make them of the synagogues of Satan, which say they are followers of Christ, and are not, but do lie. Remember, I will make them come and worship before my feet, and that you may know that I love thee. He's right up front here. He's not sugarcoating nothing. He's not changing nothing. Everybody's not followers because everybody's not going to follow the desires of God. It's not going to happen. We can do it all day, but it is not going to happen. These things is not going to go on. They're not going to go down. We got to remember it. So this is why he says that. in verse 10, he says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. All of us are going to be tried. But we need to remember, as we were sent here, we need to hold fast to what we need to do. We have to remember that, and we have to have patience. We have to have patience on what we do. Let's look at something and check this real quick. In Isaiah chapter 52, verse 3. See, we did this because we decided to turn on these side streets. It says, for thus said the Spirit of God, ye have sold yourselves for naught. This is what we done. These are things we did. And ye shall be redeemed without money. We can't buy our way out of that. We can't sit there and go give money to somebody, go, we're going to get out of it, we're going to get out of it, no, it's not going to happen. We're going to be redeemed without money. We got to be redeemed with knowledge. So it says right here, it says, remember, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou have that no man take thy crown. Exactly. Don't let no man take this wisdom. Don't let nobody do this. And as he said, he's saying this. He says, him that overcometh. So you have to overcome this. He said, I will make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out, and I will write upon him a way of my God, including the way of the city of my God, which is the new Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new way. So I tell you again, in 13, as we in Philadelphia, he that have ear to hear, let him hear. The Spirit said unto the bodies, and these things we hope that you continually remember and hold on to what is true. So with that, we hope that each and every one understand that, and we got one more city we got to go through. But hopefully you guys understand what's going on. Now, we do have where we're going to have a small webinar going on in the back, because we do have some announcements there. But the same thing as what I showed you today over at King James Bible University, I will be going through the visual tools. It's a very important teaching. Actually, you will learn extremely a lot today if you decide to go over there. And you'll see that there for today for 3 o'clock Pacific time, 5 o'clock Central, and 6 o'clock Eastern time. So if you're able to join that, please make sure you attend there. It won't be over here. It'll be over on the other side. And the main thing is, if you look down below in the description area, you will see where you'll see this webinar, and you'll see the link there to where you can get in there. And I do have a couple of announcements back there. That's one reason why we're coming back there to do that. But then we'll be getting ready for that other teaching later on this evening. So hopefully that each and every one of you guys have got a lot of understanding, things that's going on, see what's happening, really meditate on things. And the people that come by to understand really what the Word of God is saying, you want to know what it means. And if you don't know what stuff means, a lot of times people get mixed up and really, start going all over the place. So hopefully you guys got good understanding. Hopefully that we can continually move forward. And from here, I will pause. And until this afternoon, I'll say to each and every person, until next time, I say shalom.